So in this video, we are going to discuss about a very interesting topic or very simple topic, I'll say, very simple category of the operator that are called as arithmetic operators. So let's quickly start with the arithmetic operator. See, based on number of operands they need in order to perform the operation, we can categorize the arithmetic operators in two categories. The first category is unary operator and second category is binary operator. That basically means we don't have any ternary arithmetic operator. And I have told you in the previous video that we have only one operator, which is a ternary operator, that is called as a conditional operator, and conditional operator is not an arithmetic operator. So arithmetic operators are pretty easy because they are very familiar to the students because they are from the mathematics, like 4th, 5th grade mathematics. So this addition, subtraction, multiplication, such kind of operations or such kind of operators are called as arithmetic operators or arithmetic operations, and they are kind of familiar to us, right? Let's quickly go through the list of different arithmetic operators that we have in C++. So in the unary category, we have 4 different operators. The first operator is called as unary plus, then we have unary minus, then we have, this is kind of new, this is not usually seen in the mathematics, this is called as increment operator. This is kind of new. And this is again a new operator. This is called as a decrement operator. Just focus on their symbol as well. See, this unary plus is represented by plus symbol from your keyboard, then unary minus is represented by dash from your keyboard, then increment operator is represented by 2 consecutive plus symbols without a space. Okay, so you have to write 2 plus without giving any space, that is an increment operator, and if you write 2 dash without giving any space, then it becomes a decrement operator. So these are the unary operators, unary arithmetic operators that we have in C++. See, now I'm not quickly going to tell you what is use of each and every operator because we are going to do it in much more detail when I'll shift to the Visual Studio Code. Right now on the whiteboard, we are just understanding what are the different operators that are available in arithmetic operators category. Now let's go to the next category, that is called as the binary operator. In the binary category, binary arithmetic category, we have 5 different operators. They are very simple. The first operator is binary plus or addition operator. Then we have subtraction operator, or I'll say binary minus operator. Their symbol is very similar to unary plus and unary minus, but you know, based on how you write them, the operator will be considered as different one. So for example, I'll just give you an example. If you write 1 plus 3, in this case this plus is acting as binary plus or addition operator, but if you just write plus 4, then in this case this plus is acting as a unary plus operator because the style of writing the expression is different. In this case we have only one operand, in this case we have 2 operands. Okay, then we have multiplication operator. Okay, how we can write multiplication operator in C++? You have to use star symbol from your keyboard. You can find star symbol on top of 8 number key. Okay, so you have to use shift and 8 in order to get the star symbol. I know it's pretty silly to explain that. Okay, then we have division operator. Division operator is represented by forward slash, and then we have a new operator over here that is called as a modulus operator. Now if you have done mathematics maybe in your 11th grade, you might be familiar with this term in mathematics, that is modulus. See, in mathematics modulus is little bit different. In mathematics modulus refers to an operation or to an function where you give it some value. It can be a positive as well as negative value, and the modulus function, what it will do is it will give you only positive part, or it will just give you magnitude. So let's say if you see modulus in mathematics is represented like this. So if you write minus 3, modulus of minus 3, then it will be 3. If you write modulus of 3, then again it will be 3. So basically modulus operator will just return you the value without any symbol. We call it as magnitude. But over here the modulus operator is different. So over here the meaning is different. So in C++ we use modulus operator to get the remainder. See, whenever we perform division in C++, whenever we perform integer division, I will say, not floating division, whenever we divide 2 integers, we can have quotient and some remainder. So in order to get remainder of the integer division, we can use this modulus operator. Again, I'm going to explain this modulus operator in detail when I'll shift to Visual Studio Code. So enough of whiteboarding, let's quickly jump onto the VS Code and let's understand all these operators in action. Now I'm on the VS Code. Let's quickly get started. What we'll do is we'll create one simple variable of integer type, and then we'll see all these operators on that variable. So I'll create one variable of integer type. I'll name it as a, and let's initialize this variable with some value. Let's initialize it with, let's say, 10. Okay. Now let's start with the first operator in this category, that is unary plus operator. So let's write plus a. See, this is an expression that I have written. So I have written plus a. So in this case, plus is the operator that we are using. This is unary plus operator, and a is my operand. You can write anything, like you can write plus 3, you can write plus 4. So these are the expression which are using unary plus operator. Now, what is significance of writing this expression? If we execute this program directly, so let me just show you by executing this code. So let's first compile this code. I'll write g++. See, name of my file is arithmetic.cpp. So let's compile this file. So you can see the file has got compiled. Now let me execute a.out file. You can see we have executed the a.out file, but we didn't got anything on our screen. We didn't got any output because we haven't printed anything on the screen. We haven't used any cout statement. So how anything will be printed on the screen, right? So what we'll do is, over here, instead of writing these simple expression, what we'll do is we will kind of print value of these expressions on the screen. How we can print value on the screen? We know that for that we have something called a cout. So I'll write cout, then insertion operator, and then this expression. My expression is plus a. See, for safety, what we do is we enclose our expression in the parentheses so that C++ doesn't get confused. See, sometimes when you write a very big expression, sometimes it may happen that C++ can get confused between the operators. It's always better to wrap your expression with the parentheses. So again, over here also I'll write cout, insertion. See, even if you don't wrap it in parentheses, it will not be an issue, but it's better for programmer understanding, or sometimes when you have a complex expression, sometimes it may cause an issue. So sometimes it's better to enclose it in parentheses. So in the line number 12 and line number 13, I'm not going to enclose it in parentheses, and let's see now what we get as the output. So I'll just compile this code again, and let's quickly execute it. You can see we are getting 10 followed by 3 followed by 4. We forgot to add endl everywhere, so I'll just add endl quickly. And let me compile and execute it again. You can see we are getting 10 followed by 3 followed by 4. So that's it. I mean, that is the unary plus operator. Usually we don't use unary plus operator because it doesn't make any sense, right? Instead of writing plus 3, you can simply write 3. Instead of writing plus a, you can simply write a. Because it doesn't matter what value is present in a, writing plus a will just give you the value which is present in a. Let's say in a we have 10, then writing plus a will give us 10. Let's say in a we have minus 10. So writing plus a will not give us plus 10. It will just give us minus 10 only, because plus into minus, just consider it like this, plus 1 into minus 10, it's minus 10 only. So writing plus a will not give us value as plus 10, it will be minus 10 only. Then let's move to the next operator, that is unary minus operator. Let's see how unary minus operator works. So over here what I'll do is I'll write minus a, then over here I'll write minus 3, and over here minus 4. Now let me clear the terminal and let's quickly compile and execute this code. Let's see unary minus operator in action. Okay, you can see over here I have written a is equal to minus 10. So in a variable the current value is minus 10, and over here I have written minus a. So when I'm writing minus a, the value that I'm getting is 10. Why I'm getting value as 10? Because the value that is present in the variable is minus 10. When we write minus a, it's kind of like multiplication of minus 1 with minus 10, and we get plus 10 value. If we write plus 10 over here, or if we write a is equal to 10 over here, then writing minus a will give us minus 10 value. I hope you are clear on this part. It's very similar from your mathematics, nothing new. When you are writing a as minus 10 and when you are writing minus a over here, you are getting 10 as the output. But when you are writing a is equal to plus 10 and when you are writing minus 10 over here, minus a over here, then you are getting minus 10 as the output. And again for minus 3 minus 4, you are going to get minus 3 minus 4. Alright, Now the next set of operators that we have is increment operator and decrement operator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them in the end of this video because they're little bit different than the other operators. They're a little bit difficult to understand. Not difficult to understand, but they're a little bit different. So I'll take them in the end of the video. Let's jump on to the next operator, that is binary plus operator. So let's utilize binary plus operator in our code now. So what we'll do is, let's say I'll create one more variable, let's say int b variable. Let's say b has value 20. Okay, and now what I want to do is I want to add a and b. I want to print the result of addition. So how we can do it is we can write a plus b. This is my addition expression. You can see over here we have two operands, a and b. That's why this plus is a binary plus operator. In order to print value of a plus b on the screen, you need to put it in cout statement, right? Maybe you can add brackets around them just for simplicity, just for a better readability. And then if I execute this code now, you can see we are getting 30 as the output of this statement, because a and b or a plus b is going to result into 30 because a is 10 and b is 20. So a plus b will be 30. It's pretty simple. Let's say you want to store result of a plus b into a third variable, let's say in c. So what you can do is you can create a variable, let's say c, and you can assign value of a plus b into c variable. As simple as that. C programming is very easy. You just need to practice and you just need to start writing the code. That's it. So we know that how to create a variable, we know how we can initialize the variable. In this case, what we are doing differently, in the initializer, instead of giving some value, see, usually we give some value like this. So instead of giving a value, I'm giving a sub expression. I'm giving a small expression. Expression is a plus b. Okay. So how C++ is going to initialize C in this case? In this case, first C++ is going to calculate what is the answer of a plus b. And then after calculating answer of a plus b, whatever answer we are getting, that answer or that value will be inserted into C variable. So let's say if I print value of C in this case, so I'll just write cout C followed by endl, and let's compile and execute this code again. Let's see what we get in the output. You can see we are getting 30 two times. One over here, first time we are getting over here, and then again we are getting over here. Okay, so this is how binary plus operator works. Then we have binary minus operator. It's very similar to binary plus. What you have to do is, in order to write binary minus operator, you can write something like this. Let's say a minus b. Okay, I'll just write cout a minus b. It's very simple. I know it's very simple. In order to subtract two values, we can use subtraction or binary minus operator. So if I write cout a minus b followed by endl, let's see what we get as the output. So let's focus on the line number, last line in the output. You can see we are getting output as minus 10. Why we are getting output as minus 10? Because a is 10, b is 20, 10 minus 20 will be minus 10. Let's say if you want to store this value in some another variable, let's say you want to create a variable with name d and you want to store result of a minus b into d, you can do that, and you can also print value of d after initializing it with a minus 1. So I'll write cout d over here, and I'll just, after that I'll just write endl. Let's quickly compile this code and let's also execute it. You can see we are getting minus 10 two times. So what we have done is we have just printed result of subtraction of a minus b on the screen, and then after that what we did is we initialize a variable with name d with value of a minus b, and then we printed value of d on the screen. That's it. Okay, this is a simple arithmetic minus or binary minus operator. Then we have multiplication and division operators. See, these are very simple. I'll just quickly go through them. So if you want to print, let's say, multiplication of a and b on the screen, you can write a into b followed by endl. Again, see, this step is very similar. If you want to put the result of multiplication of a and b in some variable, then you can do it like this. Let's say you create a variable, let's say with name e, and you can write a into b. So a into b, value of a into b or result of a into b will be stored in e variable, and you can print e variable as well. So I'll just write cout e followed by endl. And then we have division operator. See, division operator is used to divide two values. So you can use, let's say, a divided by b, and you can print it over here. So I'll write cout a divided by b followed by endl. Okay, Now let's see what we get as the output. See, in this case, value of A is 10, value of B is 20. So let's see, I'm interested in this answer. What is the answer of A divided by B? 10 divided by 20. Will it going to be 0 or will it going to be, let's say, 0.5? Let's see that. So I'll just quickly compile this code and I'll quickly execute this code. You can see result of division is 0. And you can see result of multiplication is 200 because 10 into 20 is 200. But this thing is very interesting. Result of division is 0. So 10 divided by 20 is not 0.5, it's 0. Why it is 0? Because when you are dividing two integers, the result is always going to be an integer value. That's why we are getting 0 as the answer. See, in the next video, I'm going to explain you the different modes of execution of arithmetic operators. So whenever we write arithmetic expression works in different modes. So there are three different modes. The first is integer mode, then we have floating mode, and then we have mixed mode. So in the next video, I'm going to tell you that thing in much more detail. Right now, just remember, whenever you divide two integers, the result is always going to be integer. But let's say if you divide two floats, so if you write something like this, 10.0f divided by, let's say, 20.0f, whereas 10 and 20 are the floating values, floating constants, and I'll write ENDL after this. Now if I divide this, if I perform this division, if I quickly compile and execute this code, you can see in this case we are getting 0.5 as the output, because in this case we are not dividing two integers, we are dividing two floats or two doubles. So whenever you are dividing floating numbers, two floating numbers, you are going to get floating answer, but whenever you are dividing two integers, you are going to get integer answer. Now you might be having this question in your mind, what will happen if we divide one integer and one float? Let's see that as well. So it's an interesting question. Let's see what happens when we divide, let's say, 10 with 20.0f. So in this case 10 is an integer, whereas 20.f is a float. So in this case we are dividing integer with float. So let's see what we get as the output. This is very interesting. So let me just print the output. Let me execute the code. You can see in this case we are getting 0.5 as the output of this line as well. In this case we are dividing integer with float. This is something called as a mixed expression. So in this we have one operand which is an integer and another operand which is a float. So this kind of expression is called as mixed expression. Again, we have a separate video which is a next video itself. So in that video you will get a complete idea about what is integer expression, floating expression, and a mixed expression. Right now let's not worry about them, but I hope now you have got a basic idea about how division operator works, right? So in this case, in last two cases, the output is 0.5, whereas in this case the output is 0. Now let's jump on to the next operator, or the last operator from the binary category, that is called as modulus operator. Let's see how modulus operator works in C++. Let's say you have A and B and you are performing division of A and B. Now whenever you are performing division of A and B, see, whenever always remember, there is one important thing about the modulus operator. Modulus operator always works on integers. It only works on integers. It doesn't work on floating numbers. So if you write, let's say, something like this, 10.0f mod 20.0f, then this expression is not legal in C++. You can see over here we have started getting an error. You can see if I hover over here, it says that expression must have integral values. So I said integers, but actually you can apply modulus operator on integral. So you can also apply them on a character variable, because we know that characters are also dealt very similar to the integers, right, in the background. So we can apply modulus operator on integral data types. So in integral we have two data types, integer and character. You cannot apply them on any other data type. You cannot apply modulus operator on let's say float. You cannot apply it on boolean. So I hope you are clear on this point. This is very important point. Sometimes you also have some MCQs based on this point. So always remember this point. Modulus operator cannot be applied on floating numbers. And it makes sense, right? Because we use modulus operator to get remainder. And in case of floating numbers, remainder doesn't make any sense because floating values are already in fractions. So in that, remainder doesn't make any sense. That's why we need to use this operator on integers. Now in our case, A and B are integers, right? So let's apply modulus operator on A and B. So what I'll do is I'll write A modulus B. This is how you write expression involving modulus operator. I am writing A mod B, where A is my first operand and B is my second operand. Now what this statement actually means, or what is meaning of this expression? So over here what we are going to get as a result is, first division of A and B will be performed. See, this happens in the background. So division of A and B will be performed, and whatever is the remainder of that division, will get that remainder as the output of this expression. So let's first understand what is going to be the answer of this thing. What is going to be the answer of this expression? So A is 10 in our case, right? And B is 20. So if we divide 10 by 20, then the quotient will be 0, right? Quotient of the division is going to be 0, because 10 divided by 20, it will result 0 as a quotient. What is going to be the remainder? Remainder is going to be 10. So in this case, ideally we should get answer as 10. Let's quickly see what we are actually getting as the output. So for that, let me just put this thing in cout, and followed by, I'll also use ENDL. So let's focus on the last line of the output. So let me clear the terminal. Let's quickly compile this code again and let's execute it. Okay, over here you can observe the last line. In last line we are getting 10 as the output. Why we are getting 10 as the output? Because A is 10, B is 20. If you perform the division, the remainder that you are going to get is going to be 10. Okay, let's try it out with some different numbers. Let's try it out with some different combinations. Let's say if I divide 1 with 2, what is the remainder? So for that, how you are going to write it? You can write 1 mod 2 in order to get remainder of the division of 1 and 2. So what is the remainder of division of 1 and 2? So for that I have written cout A mod 2. So ideally the answer should be 1, right? Because if you divide 1 by 2, the quotient will be 0 and the remainder that you are going to get is going to be 1. I hope you are clear with the division concept, how division happens. So I'm not going to explain you how we are getting the remainder as 1 or 10 over here, because I am in the assumption that you know basic division, you know how we get quotient and remainder. See, we have also done division while converting decimal to binary. So in that I have told you how to divide two numbers and how to get remainders out of them. So I hope you are clear on that part. Okay, now let me compile and execute this code. You can see over here we are getting 1 as the output. Now what I'll do is I'll write 2 mod 2. Let's see what we get as the output when I write 2 mod 2. So in 2 mod 2, if you divide 2 by 2, then quotient will be 1 and remainder will be 0. So in this case the remainder should be 0. Let's see whether we are able to get remainder as 0 or not. So you can see we are getting remainder as 0. So output of this expression is 0. So in this way the modulus operator works. Now there are some important points that I need to discuss about the modulus operator. It's related to the sign of the operand. So let's quickly discuss about how modulus operator behaves to the sign of the operand. So always remember the output is going to have sign of the numerator or the first operand. This is very important point. See, always remember whenever you are using modulus operator, there are going to be two operands, right? Operand 1 and operand 2. In this case this is operand 1, in this case this is operand 2, right? So the output that you are getting, sign of that output is always going to be sign of the first operand. Let me show you. If you write -1 mod 2, over here the output that you are going to get is going to be -1. Let me show you that. So for that, let me compile the code and let's quickly execute it. You can see we are getting output as -1 over here, and this is 0 for this line, right? So over here we are getting 0. So how we are getting sign of the result? The sign depends on sign of the operand 1. So in this case sign of the operand 1 is -1. So result is also going to have sign as minus. Let's say if I write -1 mod -2. So usually what happens in the division is minus minus. If we have minus in numerator, also in denominator, then minus minus cancels each other. But in case of remainder, it doesn't happen like that. So if I write or if I execute this code, just focus very carefully. See, in this case also we are getting -1 as the output. Why we are getting -1 as the output? Because you have to simply keep simple rule in your mind. The sign of the result is always derived from sign of the first operand. What is sign of the first operand in this case? It is minus. That's why sign of the result is minus. Now instead of -1, if you write plus 1 mod minus 2, what will be the answer? Will it going to be minus 1 or plus 1? See, the answer should be very simple. You should be able to guess it now. See, answer should be plus 1. Why it should be plus 1? Again, you have to always remember the simple rule. Sign of the result is going to be sign of the first operand. What is sign of the first operand in this case? It is plus, right? So if I compile and execute this code, you can see over here we are getting plus 1 as the output. Why? Because over here the first operand is having plus sign. So I hope now you remember this rule in your mind. What is the rule? Sign of the result of the modulus operator is basically sign of your first operand. If sign of the first operand is plus, then result is also going to have plus sign. If the sign of the operand one is, let's say, minus, then also result is going to have minus sign. It's that easy, right? Now let's jump on to the next set of operators in arithmetic category, that is increment and decrement operators. See, this increment and decrement operator comes under unary category, and when I explain you the unary operator, at that time I skipped these two operators, saying that we will discuss them at the end of the video. So now is the perfect time to discuss increment and decrement operators in C++. So let me quickly jump onto the whiteboard to explain you how increment and decrement operator works in C++ and what is the syntax for using them. So let me switch to the whiteboard quickly. Okay, so now I'm on my whiteboard. So let's first discuss few important points about the increment and decrement operator. So the first point about the increment or decrement operator, see, they are kind of similar. See, as the name suggests, increment operator is used to increment the value and decrement operator is used to decrement the value. The first and the most important point about the increment or decrement operator is they can be applied only on the variable. This is very important point. They can be applied only on the variables. So if, let's say, for example, you have a variable with name a with, let's say, any value, in this case the value is 10. So writing plus plus a, see, I'm going to explain you syntax of writing increment and decrement operator. Right now just remember this thing, right now just understand it in this way. See, you have to write it increment operator like this, plus plus a or a plus plus. See, there's a difference between plus plus a and a plus plus. I'm again going to explain you the difference, but these are the two different syntaxes of using increment operator. And then you can use decrement operator like this. So these are some valid expressions because you are using increment or decrement operator on the variables. But these are some of the invalid expression. You cannot use increment or decrement operators on constants. I hope you are very clear with the first point. Increment or decrement operator can be used only on the variables. They cannot be used on constants. Okay. The next important point about the increment operator is increment operator will increase the value of the operand by 1. So whenever you write or whenever you apply plus plus, which is an increment operator, let's say on a, then value of a will increase by 1. Similarly, the decrement operator will decrease the value. This is very important. It will decrease the value of a operand by 1. So increment will increase the value by 1 and decrement operator will decrease the value by 1. That simple they are. So what is an increment operator? It is an operator which operates on a variable and it's used for increasing a value of a variable by 1. Decrement operator is used to decrease the value of a variable by 1. Okay. Now increment and decrement operator operates in two different modes. That's why you can see there are two different syntaxes. You can see over here I have written plus plus a. So in this case I am writing plus plus or increment operator before variable name, and in the second case I am writing plus plus after the variable name. That's why in C++ we have two different execution mode for increment as well as decrement operator. Let's quickly see what are the two different execution mode of increment and decrement operator. For that, let me switch to the next whiteboard. Okay, so now see operating modes of increment and decrement operator. So let's first focus on increment operator, and it's very similar to decrement operator. So whatever I'm going to tell you for increment operator, it's exact similar for decrement operator. Only the difference will be in case of increment operator the value will increase by 1. In case of decrement operator the value will decrease by 1. Now increment operator operates in two modes. First mode is called as pre-increment, or this is one of the mode in which the increment operator operates. It's called as pre-increment. Similarly, in case of decrement, we have pre-decrement mode, and then we have post-increment. In case of decrement, we have post-decrement mode. Now, what is the difference between pre-increment or post-increment? Before that, let me tell you how you can distinguish whether the operator is being used in pre-increment mode or it is being used in post-increment mode. So for that, let me just give you one simple example. Let's say if you have a variable with name a, so I'll just create one variable with name a and let me initialize it with value 5. Now, in case of pre-increment, the expression will look something like this. See, in case of pre-increment, the operator comes before the operand. See, in this case, this is my operator. We have to write operator pre to the operand. That's why it is pre-increment. And in case of post-increment, we write expression like this. So depending on where you are writing your plus operator, are you writing it before the operand or you are writing it after the operand? Based on that, it is decided whether it is a pre-increment operator or it is a post-increment operator. So depending on position where you are placing your operator, this meaning changes, right? So this is called as pre-increment and this is called as post-increment. Now let's understand what is the difference between pre-increment and post-increment. So let's understand this statement very carefully. Focus with 100% of your mind. So in case of pre-increment, first the value of an operand is incremented and then the updated value or the new value is used in expression evaluation. This is the meaning of pre-increment operator. Let me give you one very simple example. Let's say you are writing one expression like this. Let's say you are writing int b is equal to plus a. So what basically we are trying to do is we are trying to assign value of this expression into b. Now what will be the answer of this expression or what will be the result of this expression? So in case of pre-increment, whenever you are using pre-increment, what happens is, let's say we have a variable, I'll just draw it over here, and value of a is initially 5. In case of pre-increment, what happens is, first value of a is going to be incremented, it will become 6, right? And then the updated value is going to be used in the expression. So I'll say result of plus a will be considered as 6, and then this updated value will be assigned in b. So in this case, in b, the value that is going to be stored is going to be 6. This is pre-increment operator. So what happens in pre-increment? First value of a variable on which you are applying pre-increment operator is incremented, and then the new value is used in the expression or as a result of expression, that is plus a or anything, plus anything. What is post increment then? Let me just write similar expression in the post experiment category. So what I'll do is I'll write int b is equal to a plus. Now let's read the statement for post increment. In post increment, what happens is, first the value of an operand is used, or I'll say old value of an operand is used in the expression evaluation, and then value of the operand is incremented. This is very important. See, for that what I'll do is I'll just again draw two boxes for a and b. Let's say initially my a is 5, value of b is going to be derived from result of this expression, right? Now in case of post increment, what happens is, old value of an operand is used in the expression. So what is old value of an operand? It is 5. So in the expression or while evaluating the expression, the old value will be used. So old value is 5. So while assigning into b, 5 will be assigned. And once the expression evaluation is done, now this expression is finished. We are done with the expression. Now after that, the value of a will be incremented, and now value or the new value of a will become 6. If you observe, in both of the cases, value of a is 6. That's why always remember, whenever you are using increment operator or decrement operator, on whatever variable you are applying that operator, value of that variable will always increment or decrement by 1. This is very important. This point is very important. Always keep this point in your mind. See, always it's going to be incremented or decremented by 1 on which variable, whatever variable you are applying the increment or decrement operator. The distinction between increment and decrement operator comes in the evaluation of the expression. You can see in both places value of a is 6, but if you observe value of b, then in case of pre-increment, value of b is 6, but in case of post-increment, value of b is 5. So in expression evaluation you will feel the difference, but value of a is ultimately going to become 6. So I hope you are getting a good idea about how increment operator is working in C++. So let me quickly revise. See, pre-increment operator, how you write pre-increment? You have to write plus plus before the operand. How you write post-increment? You have to write plus plus after the operand. What happens in pre-increment? In pre-increment, the operand is first updated, it's first incremented. The operand on which you are applying the pre-increment operator, its value is first updated. So let's say the old value of the operand is 5, it will first become 6, and the new value, the updated value of the operand, let's say which is 6 in our case, will be used in the expression evaluation. And that's why whenever you are writing int b is equal to plus plus a, the value that will be inserted in b is going to be 6, because the result of this expression is going to be 6. Okay, and when you are writing int b is equal to a plus plus, whereas a plus plus is a post increment expression, so in this case what will happen is old value will be first used for solving the expression. So basically in this case b will get 5 as its value, and then after the expression is evaluated, then value of a will be incremented, and in this case value of a will become 6. I am repeating it multiple times. This is very important. Always remember, on whatever variable you are applying pre-increment, post-increment, pre-decrement, post-decrement, value of that variable will definitely increase or decrease by 1. The only difference that you will get is in the expression. Okay, so now I hope you are clear with the theoretical part of the increment and decrement operator. Let's quickly jump on the VS Code and let's understand the increment and decrement operator in much detail by doing some coding. Okay, so let's quickly jump on to VS Code. Okay, so now I'm on the VS Code. Now what I'll do is I'll just clear out this entire code because it has become very messy now. Not messy, but we have like increased the number of lines in the code. So in order to kind of simplify it, I'll just clear my code and I will also clear my terminal. Now what we'll do is we'll create one variable, let's say a variable. So I'll write int a. Let's initialize a with value 5. Now let's see what we get output of plus plus a followed by endl. So in this case what will happen is first value of a will be incremented by 1. So a will become 6, and then in the expression as well, in evaluation of the expression as well, the updated value will be used. So what is expression in this case? So we are writing cout plus plus a. So we can say that cout plus plus a is an expression. So in this expression the updated value will be used. So output of this statement should ideally be 6, and after this I'll write cout, let's say a followed by endl. So as we have discussed, see, a is anyway going to change to new value. It's anyways going to increment, right? So in this case value of a should also be 6. Let's quickly check it out. So oh shit, let me clear the terminal. Let me quickly compile it again and let me quickly execute it. You can see in both the cases we are getting answer as 6 6. Now let me show you post increment operators. So for that I'll write cout a plus plus followed by endl. Okay, and I'll write cout a followed by endl. See, at this point, after this point, I'll say value of a is 6. So in this case value of a is 6. This is very important to remember. Okay, now whenever you write a plus plus, whereas plus plus is used as post increment operator, what is going to happen? See, first old value of the operand is going to be used in the expression, and once the expression evaluation is done, after that value of a will be incremented. So in this case what will happen is, see, what is old value of a, what is current value of a? It is 6. So over here 6 will be printed, and after that, once our expression is done, after that value of a will be incremented by 1. So over here value of a that we will get is going to be 7. Let's quickly compile and execute this code. Let's see whether we are getting the expected output or not. You can see we are getting 6 followed by 7. Over here we are getting 6. Over here we are getting 7. So I hope you are clear on how post increment operator is working. I'll take one more example. Let's say if you create one variable b, and let's say you write a plus. Let's say you write b is equal to a plus plus. Now what I'll do is I'll print value of b followed by value of a, Now let's first guess what is going to be the output. See, we are writing a plus plus or b is equal to a plus plus. So in this expression, old value of a will be first used, right? So at this point, what is going to be old value of a? See, in this case, old value of a is going to be 7, right? Because on this line, it is getting incremented by 1. So at this point, value of a will be 7. So whenever I am writing b is equal to a plus plus, what is going to be stored in b? In b, 7 is going to be stored because it is post increment operator. A plus plus is post increment. So old value will be first used in the expression. So b will get 7 value, which is the old value of a, and then a will be incremented by 1. So over here we'll get value of a as 8. Alright, let's quickly check it out. You can see we are getting 7 followed by 8. As simple as that. I hope you are very clear with this point, right? Now let me quickly show you the decrement operator as well. So after this, let's say if I write cout a minus minus followed by e and dl, I'll write minus minus a over here. Now let's see the output. See, at this point on when we'll reach to line number 21, so at this point value of a is 8, right? So let's see what happens when we write minus minus a. So when we write minus minus a, this is pre-decrement operator. So in pre-decrement, what is going to happen? The value is first going to be updated in the operand, and then updated value will be used in the expression. So whenever you are writing minus minus a, the output is going to come as 7, correct? And then whenever you are writing a minus minus, what is going to be the output over here? See, it's again going to be 7 because the value of a is 7 in this case. So at this stage, value of a is going to be 7, correct? And as it is a post decrement operator, in the same line, in the same expression, 7 will be printed. But after this line, if you write cout a followed by e and dl, then in this case, the answer that you are going to get is going to be 6. So let me just compile and execute this code. You can see we are getting 7 followed by 7 followed by 6. That's our expected output. So I hope now you are clear on how increment and decrement operator works in C++. Now there is very important thing about the increment and decrement operator. Increment and decrement operators implementation depends on the compiler. So for different compilers, you can get different answer if the expression is too complex. See, this point is very important. If the expression is too complex, so for example, let's say if I write something like this, if I write cout 10 plus 20 plus a plus 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 minus minus a, something like this. So in this case, the expression is too complex. In the same expression, we are using plus plus as well as minus minus. In such cases, predicting the answer is little difficult because the implementation of the increment and decrement operator depends on the compiler. That's why whenever you get such kind of MCQs in your test, in your online tests, in such tests, if you have option that is compiler dependent, then that is going to be the answer of the question. So see, usually we use increment and decrement operator only for incrementing a value of an operand by 1 or decrementing value of the operand by 1. We never use increment or decrement operator in such kind of expression. We never, as a programmer, we never write such ugly kind of expressions. So that's why you might get such kind of expressions in the online test just to, kind of trick you. But in real life, they are never used. In real life, such kind of expressions are never used.